Dow is down 257 points. This is CBS News.
I'm Andrew Garrett. Follow and listen to The Takeout on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
This is Rutherford County's Blue Raider Station, FM 100.5 and 101.9, AM 1450, WGNS, Murfreesboro.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Tuesday morning edition of the Roundtable Show. I got tongue-tied again, as I always do. I need to do some kind of what do singers do before they go on stage? They do all these exercises, right?
I have no idea.
I guess we need to do that.
Since I can't carry a tune in a bucket
either, man.
So.
Yeah, there's an AI app out right now where you can take a picture, selfie yourself, and say these lines, and then pick the song you want, and it'll make you singing a song. So
seriously,
yeah, it's only $59 a week, but I may have to do it to at least get one song. So, morning, Wayne. How are you, buddy?
Good morning, Brother Rick. Very well. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope the horses are all well.
They are. We spent all weekend at the farm. It was a good day working on the barn and the shop and horses, and it seems like the weather like it is, we cleaned out mains and stuff like that, made them pretty. I tried to get Brian to come out there. He wouldn't come with me, though.
You know, each year
I can braid. Do you know that?
I can't, so I could use you.
There you go. Yeah, I'm surprised that at this time of my life that I don't recall weather patterns better than I do, but January and February, December, January, and February in Middle Tennessee is bizarre. I mean, literally, you can get all four seasons, sometimes in a day, but at least in a week. This is just...
Well, that front that came through Saturday night, I mean, we were at the place all day. It was fine. We left, ran over to Brentwood to run a couple of errands, and this north wind showed up at 18 to 20 miles an hour, and I think it dropped 30 degrees by the time we got home.
I was trying to drive back home at that time, and I'm going
misty and rain, nasty. It's terrible.
I'm a little in the beginning stages of melancholy since football is winding down. So can't say that. It seems like all of my favorite teams, I'm a bad luck omen. If I cheer for them, they're going to lose. So, we're the only good thing. United Football League starts in March, I think, which is the old USFL.
I was going to say, is that what they call it nowadays?
I think it's called United, but at least that gives me hope. So, even bad football is better than no football at all. So,
Do you do any arena football?
Not lately, but back when the Nashville Cats here, my son and I used to go. So.
Well, they're back, you know.
They are, yeah. In Clarksville, I think, is where they're playing now.
Jeff Fisher is the commissioner of the league.
Okay.
The entire league. They're pretty good, pretty fun, much fun.
May have to check them out. Thank you.
That sounds like something we could do.
Yeah, does.
I like being on the first 3 rows, though, because a lot of times you can get involved in the action.
Kind of like hockey.
Yeah.
Brother Rick, got a great program. Our guest is heading up an organization that, of course, you were aware of, but I did not have a clue. But this morning we have Emily McKee, who's the executive director of Kymari House. Kymari House. And I, of course, not surprising, but I did not have a clue. And pleased to have you and welcome, Emily. So thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't you talk a little bit about yourself? You're except for Brian, you're in a room full of Smyrna alumni, and Rick and I won't butt heads over graduating classes this morning. But tell a little bit about yourself, family, education, whatever you'd like to share with our audience.
Okay, yeah. So I am from here, and by from here, I mean I was born about a mile away, back when the hospital was over on Bell Street. So I've lived in Rutherford County my whole life. I've moved from Smyrna to Murfreesboro to Laverne and back to Smyrna, big moves. So I went to all Smyrna school. I graduated from Smyrna High back in the early 2000s, which was just like 5 years ago. I'm not really sure how the dates work, but it definitely wasn't 23 years ago. So I graduated from all Smyrna schools. I went to MTSU and got my degree in psychology there. And then I went into the social service world, where I worked for about 16 years for one of the largest nonprofits in Middle Tennessee. I worked for Family and Children's Service, and moved through answering what is now 988, and we used to answer 988 and 211. Moved around from doing that into some case management, into fundraising and development and staff training, and basically did a little bit of everything for the last almost 20 years with them. And then in 2020, I applied for grad school, and then the world shut down. And then I was accepted to grad school, and I thought, why not do this while I'm also homeschooling 2 kids, and while we're all trapped in the house. So in 2020, I went back. I went to a UT and got my Master's of Science in Social Work. And since then, I did a couple of different jobs, again, with like staff training and onboarding at Family and Children's. And then in 2023, in November, I ended up here with Kymari House, which was a service that I had historically needed access to in some of my previous jobs. And I can remember when I applied for this, I remember thinking like, there were so many times that I would be jumping up and down in court with my clients and being like, we need somewhere safe for your kid to see their other parent. And we just, because I was in Davidson County, and because it was sort of in between when Kymari House was being built, it was just something that we didn't really even necessarily know we had access to either. And so it was really exciting to be able to come on at Kymari House and to already know what the work kind of is and really have an understanding and appreciation for how important the safety work that we do with our kids is. So yeah, that's me. I'm married, got 2 kiddos that are also Smyrna Schools babies, and a little ugly dog. We live in Smyrna.
We all have that ugly dog.
What about siblings? What did your parents, what were their professions?
They actually still live in the house they brought me home from the hospital. My mom worked in, she ended up, I think she retired from Nissan. She worked in like warranties. And then my dad and the rest of our family has been involved in construction and vehicles, essentially. So he was in construction for the longest time, and then he worked for Nissan for about 20 years or so. They're both retired now, and they go back and forth between their house here that we grew up in and a house on the beach, which we're all very jealous of.
No doubt.
And I've got an older brother who's from here as well. So he's in between us as far as our graduation years from Smyrna.
So is the beach house their escape from reality, I guess?
They get to snowbird now. So they get to, it's too cold, we're going to the beach. And we're just like, okay, we'll stay here and work and go to school.
That's awesome. So, talking about Kymari House, how did it get started? So, that's a big deal because I'm like you, being in law enforcement and, retiring out of it and then seeing just the atrocities of parents using their kids against the other parent a lot of times and family members and things like that. So, I can see the worth of this. How did it come about?
We were started in 2012. So historically, supervised visitation and safe exchange was a program that was provided by an organization that used to be called the Family Center. It's Raising Resilience Tennessee now. And the funding for the programming, from my understanding, got cut. And so there was basically a 2-month turnaround where they said, we can't do this anymore. And our founding board was contacted by Judge Calloway in Nashville, by the juvenile court judges in Rutherford and Williamson County, and some of the family law attorneys. And basically they were like, y'all figure this out. These kids don't have any way to see their parents. We know this is a safety concern. And so by December of 2012, Kymari House had gotten to be a nonprofit, and we started basically borrowing space as we could, above a dentist office, in office, like friends of the organization in their offices on the weekends. And then in 2014, we officially moved into our permanent home at 308 North Spring Street. So we just kind of worked it out for a little while, and then we've been in that precious little gingerbread house down the street from here for 14, I can't do math, 12, 13 years now. So we've been just plugging along, and a lot of the staff that I have, I want to say probably half of the staff that I have now were staff members there as that sort of transitioned out. And so we have one staff member who has been doing this for 18 years. And so when people are like, who runs this place? I'm like, well, technically, she does.
My name's on the door. But, yeah.
But whenever something comes up and I'm not sure what to do, I ask her, because she is
She's the sergeant
specialist.
major.
Yes.
Sergeant major.
Absolutely.
We used to call George Michaels at the school board, who was the secretary for the director of school and for the school board. We called her Sergeant Major because nothing happened if it didn't go through her.
That's exactly.
Yep.
So you named off 3 counties that we're trying to get together. So this in Spring Street, are you doing Davidson and Williamson County as well?
We actually serve anyone. We have multiple families right now that we serve from out of the state. Like one parent and the child lives in Middle Tennessee, and another parent lives in Texas, Florida, Colorado. So we serve the entire state and basically anybody who will agree to our rules. We are very strict because our main concern is the child's psychological and physical safety. And so we're working with families who have had safety issues, and the courts have deemed one or both of the parents to be a safety risk for the child. So it sounds really fun when we give you that big list of rules that we have, but the rules are there obviously for safety so that we can make sure that the time that we spend in the house is only about the children and not about all of the other grown-up stuff that's going on. So we do right now, a lot of our cases are Rutherford. We have some Williamson. We have a couple of Davidson, and then we've got a lot of surrounding counties. So we have families from Wilson, Bedford. I'm trying to think of all the colors in our color coordinated chart, but we've got them from just about everywhere. And I think the furthest that we've had is New York, Colorado, and southern Florida.
Prior to the show, we were talking. You said there was a law that is not enacted here in Tennessee. I forgot what was the.
I don't know.
Okay, so let me rephrase then. So what for you to exist, what program or what statute makes you legal, I guess I could say?
So when it comes to supervised visitation, a lot of the times when families are in a high conflict separation or divorce, supervised visitation is about the only option that the judges have to make sure that that child is going to be safe while they're with their parent. And so we exist to provide that service, and we do that specifically for our families that are not able to pay full price for some of the other services, because there are other people who do supervised visitation. They just are often going to be working with cases that have not as many risks as ours do. Okay. So most of our referrals come through the courts. We get a lot of our referrals through juvenile court when there's custody issues, but also, when there's high conflict divorces and things, we will sometimes see those from divorce court instead of having to come all the way through juvenile court to get to us.
I was in juvenile court a couple months ago, and it was a couple of parents that had done programs, had their children taken away. They did a lot of those supervised visits with you guys, and then basically completed their program through that year, and were able to get custody and get their kids back. So I've seen the rewarding side of it, and I've seen, unfortunately, in police work, I've seen the other side of it too, because a lot of times, unfortunately, I do fault the parents. They'll use that kid as a tool to get to the other one, and it may, and I could see where a program like this would help greatly, because if you ever get assigned one of those domestic violence cases that we have, we send our detectives to special schools and things, how to deal with this, and the forensic interviews. We have a CAC that can do the interviews with the kids and things like that. But at the end of the day there was this big gap, and I could see where this would fit it in, because not everybody can afford some of those counseling sessions and things. And they, of course, y'all talked about the safe drop-off zone. A lot of times if it's a bad situation, they allow them to do it, or make them in police department parking lots where they're on video so they can see the drop-off. But that doesn't record why you can see them there, but it doesn't record what is said. Mm-hmm. A lot of times you would see in video that they would have some kind of conversation, then one would immediately report X, and then the other says no, Y is what was said. So it becomes a tit for tat, and then we're like, well, just go back to court, which costs more and more money. So I can see where this is a great thing. Because talk about that a little bit, because you're almost got to, not police, but you kind of got to intervene a lot of times or keep up with what's being said, right?
Yeah, so we don't technically work for the courts, but we do act as the eyes and the ears of the courts. And so when what you're talking about, like, our families don't ever interact. The custodian does not ever see the visiting parent. So we treat every single case like there is a restraining order. And so we basically are in these really, really high intensity situations and asking everybody to slow down and put the child at the forefront of this. Like, y'all can fight all day long, not in front of them. Sure. Don't involve them. Go ahead and refer them for supervised visits and let us handle that part, because we don't pass information back and forth. Mm-hmm. We operate as a neutral third party, so we're not necessarily there to be like, oh, he's had 6 visits and everything's going great. What a wonderful parent. We're there to be able to say, within this very strict and very boundaried organization and this little box, we have not had any reason to terminate. And so operating as that neutral space really takes a lot of the grown-up emotions and stuff out of it, and makes it to where we are able to be about the kids and looking in after them instead of focusing on who said what, when, and where, and how that went down. Because that's not any of these babies' problems. That ain't their deal.
Paint us a picture of the first visit.
So first visits are, I love to be there on first visit days, because a lot of, like, think about the families that we're working with, right? So they're in high conflict supervised. Goodness gracious, I'm going to join you with vocal warm-ups. They're in this high conflict situation, haven't seen mom in 6 months to 2 years, and we're hearing from all of these parties, all this he said, she said. We've had all of these issues. So we do the interviews with everybody and make sure we know everything we can going into it. And a lot of the times our first visits are just so much different than what we're anticipating. We get those kiddos into the house and that door opens and it's immediately mommy or daddy, and they just dive all over them. Meanwhile, that parent has been talking to us about, I haven't seen her in 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's even going to want to have anything to do with me. And because we're able to create that safe space, we get to watch them actually reconnect and see one another. Now, not everybody wants to see their parent, and we understand that. But yeah, a lot of those they come in and their first visit is, we've had a couple of them where they're just like a clump in the floor for a good 15 minutes because those kids just dogpiled onto that parent. And, as long as everything's okay, we're loving it. Just getting to see them have that positive interaction, because we do also know that a lot of our kids, sometimes this is the only place that they get to see that parent. But yeah, so our first visits are usually about an hour long. Everybody's really nervous right before it starts, and then it starts, and it's just sort of like you crest that hill of the roller coaster. And we make cookies or we make slime. We provide them with things to do so that we aren't accidentally overstepping things that we're not supposed to talk about. Mm-hmm. And we do sort of set them up for success. So you've got a 6-year-old, you know what, we're going to be in the art room because we're going to be making some slime, or we're going to be decorating cookies. And so their first visit is usually a big, everybody's tearing up a little bit, dog pile, and then we will often make cookies and sort of fill up their time just so that we don't have to worry about all of the nerves accidentally spilling out. And then we try to, before everybody's first visit is over, have the parents and the child or children take turns painting each other's hands, and they put their hands on our wall in our hallway. Oh, wow. And so that way, every time that you come in, you get to give yourself a high five, and sometimes you get to watch your hands grow. We've had parents who aren't allowed to take pictures with their child because of the court order, who have taken pictures of their hands with their babies and printed it out and put it in their house because that is what they're here for. So it's really difficult, but it's really, really fun to get to see those things. And just honestly, to hear a door open and hear, a 3 to 7 to 16-year-old be like, mommy, or oh, daddy, when everybody's been like, we don't know how it's going to go, is just, exactly. I'd take that every day. You could just bottle that feeling up.
So if there is a strange situation where the child really doesn't want to see this parent, or how do you work through that?
Well, the children, so we consider the child as our client. If you don't want to see them, we're not going to force you. We are going to ask you to give it a try, because we do know, right, that children in front of one parent or the other are going to not necessarily say exactly what they're thinking, because even if you're doing your best, we're still performing a little bit. So we just ask the kids if you want to give it a try. If they show up on Saturday for their second visit and they say, I don't want to get out of the car, that's fine. Okay. High five, we'll see you next time if you want to give it a try again. But we've had kids who have said, basically, I don't want to see that person. And I've said, okay, do you want to come in and we can do art for an hour, and that parent is not allowed to talk to you. They can sit in the corner and watch, and they'll say, yep. And we can do that 2 or 3 different times. And then it gets to the point where they're doing parallel play. They're sitting there doing paint by number beside their parent that they've said they don't want to have anything to do with. And as long as they're not showing discomfort, that to us is a successful visit. Sure. And sometimes just getting 2 people who don't know each other well enough into the room at the same time is a healing experience that you really wouldn't necessarily think about.
I mean, I'm visualizing that just in my career, because you take one side that's been fed a narrative for so long, a story, be it true or not true, it's a story that they hear, and they're going to believe it because it's their peers and families, so they're going to believe what they hear. So a lot of times that interaction with that said person could be that's pretty cool how you still do them anyways, but it can be a limited basis as it goes on.
Yeah, and if the child says, I don't want to do this anymore,
yeah,
awesome. This is your parents are court ordered to this, and we're not going to force you. Our goal is for every single child that comes in to have positive memories for these little bubbles of time that they're with us, and we're not doing that by making you be in a room with somebody you don't want to be with. So, based on their age and the way that they respond, but it's pretty hard to talk a kid out of wanting to come in to our house because there's so much fun stuff, which sometimes it feels almost kind of tricky. But as you said, we have a lot of different narratives that we have heard. And one of the things that we like to talk about a lot is these kids are going to be adults one day. They're going to be 16, 17, 18. They're going to figure out what was going on. So why don't we just go ahead and remove some of the messy part of it and just let it be, as long as we can do so safely.
So you said there's other organizations or services other than Kymari. So you're a nonprofit. Are some of these others for profit?
Yes, so we're the only nonprofit sliding scale provider of supervised visitation, which means that nobody pays the full price of about $200 to $300 an hour to see their children. So we're working with families who can't afford that, don't have access, and they're paying most of our clients pay $25, or most of our visiting parents pay $25 an hour, which is really just so that if we don't have any fees, a lot of times people don't show up.
They've got some skin. They got some skin in the game.
Well, and because we're paying for you to be here and see your child, we're paying $175 an hour of that $200, and you're paying $25 because I'm grant writing and fundraising to fill those gaps.
With it being a nonprofit, I'm just me thinking out of the box here. The expansion of that. With the adoptions that's going on, and then people find out who their mom or their dad is, and it's that tense situation, they could almost use a service like this as well, right?
Yeah, well, and we take voluntary referrals. It's just not a lot of people are volunteering to use this service. I think out of the cases we've got one that's voluntary right now, and it's just they saw the writing on the wall. If we continue to go this way, it's going to be harder and harder on the kids, and their lawyers were able to say, let's just go ahead and do supervised visits, and then we can, fight about everything else. And so they've volunteered. But yeah, we're happy to serve anybody again who will.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking. I just saw it on one of the news stations in Nashville, and it was a father that found out he had a son that he never knew about. It was kind of a one-night stand with a lady years ago, and then she ends up having a kid, never told him, and then that kid later starts hunting for who the parent was, and this, he gets a contact through an email that this person and he talked about, because he was at that time a professional, pretty, making good money, had 3 kids of his own and a wife, and all this hits on him, and they rejected it, and then it's taken a year, but it's gone full circle, and I could see where maybe if they had something like this to intervene, it would have helped them, over that year of getting through all the red tape that they were dealing with.
Well, and that's not a lot of our cases, but we do have cases that happen like that where mom and dad dated, it didn't work out, she was pregnant, one of them moved, and then 3 years later there's a baby, and you're getting hit for child support or whatever. Well, I want to see my kid.
That's right.
And so those are, honestly, when those happen, those are usually not as many safety concerns, right? Because it's just, things just didn't work out, and it just kind of fizzled down this way. Yeah. So we do love when those come through, because a lot of the times we're getting to teach a dad how to change a diaper and how you cut up grapes to make sure that nobody chokes on it, and just the things that you don't have that opportunity to do if you don't see your kid regularly or by yourself. So yeah, when those come through, it's like, these are going to be fun, because we're just getting to introduce a kid to their parent. And we get to watch them go from, I don't even know who this person is, to, I'm making this painting for my daddy because I love him so much. And, as a neutral third party, we're all just like,
no doubt,
misty eyed, like, oh, this is what we're here for.
Wow. You're listening to the Executive Director of Kymari House, Emily McKee.
McKee. You
okay,
got it.
Got it. All right. I don't know why. I guess because his wife just died. I had Sydney McPhee in my mind, unfortunately. But Emily McKee. But we're going to take our first break. Be right back with you in just a minute.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
Do you love WGNS Radio? Well, now you can watch it too. WGNS Big GTV brings your favorite radio shows live and on demand. From breaking news and community talk to Rutherford County's top local sports. We've got it all right at your fingertips. Watch anytime, anywhere. WGNS Big GTV, where radio comes to life.
When the weather turns bad, minutes, even seconds matter.
This is an early heads up for southern Rutherford County.
Rutherford Weather brings you live radar and expert meteorologist insight, giving you the early heads up when storms threaten.
A lot of areas are going to see some impacts from this storm.
From analysis to live camera views, we keep you informed before, during, and after the storm.
I think the vast majority of the hail with this now is going to be quarter to perhaps golf ball size.
Rutherford Weather. Stay ahead of the storm.
This is Chip Walters, and I'm honored to be your 2024 MTAR Realtor of the Year. I'm with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, and like many of you, I've seen the real estate market shift and change. People often ask, Chip, what's really going on? Well, that's a great question, and I believe in answering with solid, factual data. So let's cut through some of the noise. I invite you to reach out. Let's have a conversation about your real estate goals and the current market trends in your neighborhood. You can find all my contact information at choosechip.net.
Good Neighbor Events is brought to you by the law offices of John Day, AmeriCare Pest Control, and Old National Bank.
This is a paid legal ad.
At the law offices of John Day, we take only real cases that make a real difference.
My name is Laura Lynn, and my family needed legal help. The law offices of John Day took the burden really off of my shoulders. Never once did I feel secondary to anything else that was going on.
We want to make a difference in the community we hold so dear. And if you're ever injured, know that we are here for you too. Seriously injured? Call me, John Day.
Now, WGNS Good Neighbor Events. The Music Man is coming to the Arts Center of Cannon County, Eco Way, January the 23rd through February 7th. Don't miss the Music Man. The Smyrna Lions Club is having a Sweetheart Dance on Saturday, February the 14th at the Smyrna Events Center. Not only does it include a dance, but a delicious dinner. That's the Smyrna Lions Club's Casino Royale Roulette and Romance, a Sweetheart Dance, at the Smyrna Event Center on the Sam Ridley Parkway in Smyrna. Single tickets are $100 or $180 per couple, and that includes the dinner. There's a free grief support group meeting every Wednesday morning at 10 at the St. Clair Senior Center. That's at 325 St. Clair Street, here in Murfreesboro. The Red Cross is still critically low on blood. Please give the gift of life at the Red Cross. Phone 800-RED-CROSS and make an appointment to give blood at a time that fits your schedule. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor Events.
Rutherford weather.
We'll see sunny skies here for this afternoon with a high in the upper 50s. Tonight, a slight chance for rain showers here late, increasing clouds a low 40. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki from the WGNS Rutherford Weather Center.
Currently, it's 37.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. As a member of MTE, you have access to educational resources to help you tailor energy use to your lifestyle. Interested in electric vehicles? MTE offers incentives to learn about EVs and connect with others who share your interest.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
And welcome back to the second segment of Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne. And it's certainly our pleasure this morning to have Emily McKee, who is the Executive Director of Kymari House, an organization I had no clue about until yesterday. So we're pleased to have you, and thank you for being with us. You mentioned you're a nonprofit, so funds have to come from somewhere, and yes. Maybe after you talk about that, maybe you go into a fundraiser that's coming up as well.
Yes, perfect. If only there was a fundraiser to talk about. I will be right there in just a second. Yeah, so we are, as a nonprofit, we are majorly like grant and foundation funded. So our care holders are the greater community, right? So we receive funding from organizations like the United Way, the Healing Trust, Christy Houston Foundation, Rutherford Opioid Board, which Commissioner Harris just left, the Administrative Office of the Courts, and then we get some funding through like the local city and county on occasion. Mm-hmm. And then the remainder of our funding comes through fundraisers. So yes, February 26th, we have our next one. It's our third annual Smoke and Barrel Bourbon Tasting fundraiser. It will be at Copper Ridge from 6 to 9. And we will be tasting, I think we've got 6 to 7 bourbons for general admission. And then we have Mitt from Laverne Beverage Depot is our VIP sponsor, and he will be serving up VIP drinks for the VIP participants, ticket holders. Wow. We're also hoping to have a cigar bar outside, and it's just a good time, a Thursday, a mini Friday.
Sounds like the guy's night out to me.
Valentine's Day is coming up. And general tickets are $50, VIP are $75. If you wait until the 13th at 10 o'clock at night, I'm not going to tell anybody.
How cool is that? So you mentioned that you have to write grants as well. So a good grant writer, from what I understand, they're worth their weight in gold. So
yes.
So are you that good, or is it? It's just that there's a lot of competition for the grants.
There is a lot of competition for the grants, but we have been really lucky since I've been here. I came in and our budget was very small as far as nonprofit organizations go. Our budget was less than $150,000 a year. And we had not really ever had a full-time executive director. So I have been working my fingers off, writing grants left and right, and I've been really grateful to be almost surprised with some of the things that I felt like a long shot and just sort of tossed it out there. And then the community partners have come back and been like, absolutely, we need this. So we've been growing over the past couple of years, and we have nearly tripled our budget, and we have doubled the amount of clients that we've been able to serve, or the number of hours that we've been able to serve over the past year compared to previous years. But yes, a good grant writer is worth their weight in gold, and I would love to not be that one forever.
I've got a nephew in Indianapolis, Indiana, and that's his sole thing for the city of Indianapolis as a grant writer. Wow. Mm-hmm. And evidently he gets them a lot of money.
Yes.
You got to it's a degree. Some colleges offer it now for grant writing. So
you have a board that you work with?
We do. We have a board of 10 that has 10 members on it. Currently, the majority of our board right now is mostly Murfreesboro individuals. So we've got Lisa Deal is our board president. She's over at First Bank. Andy Helton. I'm trying to think. I see her name written down, and everybody's name is in my head as their email.
She's in Rotary with us as well.
Yeah, she's our secretary. We have Roy Thurman from Redstone. He is our treasurer. And then our other board members, we've got a detective, Tommy Roberts. He actually was who worked Kymari's case.
I was going to ask you to tell the story about her.
Yeah, I will absolutely. And then our other board members are sort of throughout the community. And they have just been very gracious to hang on to their seats with some of the things that I've thrown at them. So like you said, as far as like grants go, one of the first meetings that I had, I was like, we're going to double the budget and this is what we're going to do. And we're going to write $100,000 grant for this. And, I think I scared some of them just a little bit, but I was like, I know what I'm doing, you guys. And so they have kind of held on through some of that, through some of our growing pains. And now we're really sort of hitting the ground running and able to capitalize on some of those things together and making sure that people in the community know about us so that we are as visible as possible because, like you said, you didn't even know we existed. Yeah. And if we do our job right, nobody really does. Nobody is coming out of Kymari House and being like, I was court ordered to supervise visitation. Yeah. You know, like you're just like, oh, I have my kid back. But it is something that, like, if we do it right, we're not on the news. Because if we're not having to have all of these things happen all of the time, how do we do that as an organization without like really overstepping and selling the information for our clients and what we do on a daily basis, but also balance that out with making sure that you know that the work that we do is really important and it really does make a huge difference in the lives of these kids. So that was one of the first things when I was hired. They were like, we need a mouthpiece. And I was like, give me a bullhorn. I'm ready.
Somebody listening out there, and they feel like they want to use this service, can they come to you and you give them guidance, or what do they need to do? What's the process?
Absolutely. We are happy to answer questions. Again, we are a neutral third party, so we're not ever going to be like, you're the greatest parent we've ever seen, but we will be able to tell you, like, if you don't have custody and want it, you would need to petition for supervised visitation, and you can have your lawyer call us and we can help them sort of look at how we work the things that we do so that you have a good understanding of it's going to take a few weeks because we're going to ask for all of the criminal charges. We're going to ask for every single document that you've got from courts because we want to make sure that we know of all of the safety concerns. But yeah, they're welcome to give us a call. And we've had a few times that we've been like at community events, which we're mostly hoping to make partner friends, but where people will walk up and be like, I didn't know this existed. Give me your number. I'm going to have my lawyer call you. Because nobody's told me about this or about this opportunity. And they're just, sometimes they get ordered to supervise visitation and then that's it because they look and there's a guy who will meet you for $300 at McDonald's. And they can't afford that. So.
Is CASA involved in this whatsoever? Where they a lot of times get appointed for the kid?
We work with them periodically. I want to say about 25% of CASA's cases would qualify for what we do. Because we work specifically with non-DCS families, we do see them every now and then. But the families that we're working with, the child or children are living with either another parent or another family member. And so sometimes if CASA is involved, that means DCS is involved and there are a lot of other parts to it. And so many of those will go through the DCS system. But we do sometimes see them as they get stepped down or as DCS is no longer involved, but we think, 10 more visits would be beneficial. So we talk to them every now and then.
Rick and I have made a mission to make children our focus on this program. We've had Isaiah 117 several times. We've had Atlas. How can you utilize volunteers in the community? Is there a way to, if this is a passion for one of our listeners, how could they be of help to you other than writing a check?
Yes, absolutely. So we love volunteers. As I said, I have been up until recently our only full-time person. We now have 2 other full-time people, and I love that because it's not just me at the house all week long. But I am the executive director and the grant writer, and we are the janitors. We always need volunteers to help with stuff like Friday is a house cleaning day because our visits are typically on the weekends. We would love to have groups that want to sponsor us for a specific month and maybe have your small group come over every Friday. We'll give you everything you need and the list of what needs done. But anything that we could use to sort of take some of the additional things off of what we're doing. And then we also need volunteers whenever we go to like community events. I would love for it not to just be me and one other person handing out bubbles, and just people who are willing to be an ambassador for our service. So
you need T-shirts.
We just got T-shirts.
Okay.
We need to sell T-shirts, but yes.
Do you need our sizes?
I probably have them at the office. And then other volunteer opportunities. We don't typically use volunteers working with the families just because of any safety concerns.
Sure.
But we do need volunteers to be ambassadors for the organization. We're always looking for board members, especially board members who very much care about our mission and the things that we do and are able to make sure that they're going out in the community and talking about the things that we do as well. So our board year starts in April. So if you've got anybody who thinks this is just really their jam, my email is emily@kymarihouse.org, or you can just go to kymarihouse.org and you can get to me 30 different ways from there.
Tell us about how the house got a name. Kymari Clark, tell us about her.
All right, so Kymari Clark was, he was about 18 months old, and this child lived with his mom. She was a Murfreesboro resident who left him with her mother to finish up her schooling that next semester. She went back to school. Mom had the baby, and he was essentially left with an unsafe caregiver. And within a couple of hours of being left with this person, 911 was called, and there were a series of different allegations of what had happened to make him stop breathing. And he was pronounced dead at Vanderbilt that evening from severe child abuse. And so when we were founded back in 2012, our founders reached out to Tommy. And they were like, we really want to find a local child that we can honor with this work who would still be here if they were something like this hadn't happened. And Kymari should be driving right now, but because he was left momentarily even with an unsafe family member, he's not with us anymore. So we worked with the family to name the organization after him. And he is, when you walk into our building, that's the first thing that you see is a picture of Kymari over our fireplace. And that was one of the requirements of a permanent house, was it had to have a fireplace so that we could make sure that he was the first thing you see when you walk in.
Makes total sense. We talked earlier and come against the break, and I wanted to expand on that a little bit, but how you were talking about somebody learning to change diapers and things like that. Is there actual training or workshops so a parent's all in on getting this done that they can attend or get through, you guys?
So we now, technically, when it comes to supervised visitation, we are a fly on the wall, right? But my staff are all professionally trained. They have more than 40 hours of training in like child brain development, appropriate child behavior, how to interact with parents, crisis de-escalation, all of these things. And so like, you can't watch somebody flop around with a baby and try to figure out how to do this without stepping in if you know what you're doing. And so that's one of those things where we're just sort of a step beyond that. And if we see that somebody's struggling, like you've never dadded before, you got a 9-month-old and you're just terrified you're going to break him, and you've got all of these things that we're watching you for. No, we just change that baby's diaper. We'll help you figure it out.
Well, a lot of times, especially in the infant stage through 3, they're used to a routine.
Oh, yes. And
so getting in that routine is huge. So if you're not getting that routine, the day is not going to go well at all.
Right. Well, and we organize our visits as closely as we can around nap time and things like that, because we want you to be successful. We don't want you to come in and hold your baby for an hour while they scream because they want to be napping and they're not comfortable.
Yeah.
And we also don't let that happen. So if the baby does come in and we have a difficulty with calming them down, we give the parent the opportunity, and then our staff, and we've got a time limit. So we're not going to let, even if you're 6 months old, we're not going to let you fuss and not want to be here for more than a few minutes. We will go ahead and call the custodian and have them come get them, and we'll try again another day. And sometimes it takes a few tries to get the child comfortable with us even before they're comfortable with their parent.
Yeah.
So can I assume that the majority of the individual visiting are usually males?
About 50-50.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would not have thought that.
Yeah. That, when I started here, I was like, oh, it's going to be a bunch of dads. But no, we see, we're probably right at half and half right now, with dads versus moms. And the way that it kind of works out is we've almost got like one day that's all moms. And then the next day is all dads, just how the schedules fell.
And I imagine you're seeing a lot of grandparents, because I know in my experience it was a lot of grandparents raising their kids, because you had a kid trying to raise a kid and it ends up with those parents and situations, right?
Yes. So we do have some cases where the child is even with the grandparents and visits with both parents, or visits with each parent separately because of the level of conflict in the household.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we see families when somebody's like, what's your normal case look like? I just giggle, because it's like anywhere from a baby 6 months old that that dad's just never seen, to a 16-year-old who has really been through it with both sets of parents and doesn't want to be here and doesn't know why we're doing these things, and is, a sass and a half, and we love that. We love a sassy baby. But yeah, it's our general case is literally anything, and it's people who, it's not just a specific like grouping of people. Like you said, you would think it was a lot of dads, but it's people that run demographically fit in everywhere.
I would think the drop off and pickup would be a little tricky.
We have so many rules. So we treat every case like there is a restraining order. And so what we do is we have the visiting parent, so the parent the child doesn't live with, they have a very strict time period. You can't park within a certain distance of the house. You have to be here 15 to 30 minutes before the visit starts. You relinquish your keys, you get metal detectored, and then you go to your room where you're going to have your visitation, and you hang out until the child gets there. And then the custodian shows up with about a 3-minute window. And they basically, they pull in to our driveway. Our supervisor goes out and gets them. They leave, and then we take them into the visitation room so that they don't even have the opportunity to eyeball one another. And that's just one of the different things that we have in place for safety. But it is organized chaos. And let me tell you, when you're there, if you could be there on the weekend when we've got kids coming and kids going, because there's a visit that ends at 11:30 and one that starts at 12, our supervisors, again, they just make it look easy and fluid. And every time I'm in there, I'm like, I'm just getting in the way. But getting these kids in and out of cars and parents checked in and out, they really have got it down. And they are the reason that we exist, because they kept this organization and this work going even when we were, I guess, for about 6 months. We didn't even have an executive director until I started. So I was very, very blessed to roll in with the staff that we have who just get it done. And then I just talk about them. And I get to tell people about the great things that they do, and how, they make balloon arches, and we get birthday cakes, and we're as much a part of some of these families as the visiting parent is sometimes. And it's really, really like sacred work to be able to be in that space with them.
Yeah, no doubt. You listen to Emily McKee with Kymari House. She's the executive director. We're going to take our second break and be right back with you in just a minute.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
What's the location of your emergency? I think my kid OD'd.
Hi, I'm Craig Harris, I'm County Commissioner of Rutherford County. One of the reasons I ran for office is because I wanted to bring awareness to the opioid epidemic that's impacting our county. To stop providing this epidemic with people as we educate them. We have a lot to do, and we have to come together as a community because this problem's not going away.
When the weather turns bad, minutes, even seconds matter.
This is an early heads up for southern Rutherford County.
Rutherford Weather brings you live radar and expert meteorologist insight, giving you the early heads up when storms threaten.
A lot of areas are going to see some impacts from this storm.
From analysis to live camera views, we keep you informed before, during, and after the storm.
I think the vast majority of the hail with this now is going to be quarter to perhaps golf ball size.
Rutherford Weather. Stay ahead of the storm.
Hey, Rutherford County sports fans, from auto, home, renters, business insurance, and more, trust your local State Farm agents. Celeste Middleton, Rod Reeves, Emerson Williams, Alex Williams, Dana Womack, and Andy Womack. This powerful team lives here, works here, and are your neighbors. They're ready to help you manage everyday risk, recover from the unexpected, and realize your dreams. Contact Celeste, Ron, Emerson, Alex, Dana, or Andy for all of your insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
And good morning and welcome back to the third and final segment of Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne. And Rick and I have really enjoyed getting to talk with Emily McKee, who's the Executive Director of Kymari House. And this has just been a great show because I feel like I have been enlightened because although Rick was aware of your service, I did not. I mean, it's just pretty amazing what you do, and God bless you for what you do. You know, if you can get children and parents back together on an even keel, I think that's quite the blessing.
Absolutely. And what you just said is, when I think about like the clients that we have served, especially recently, we've had several really just amazing success stories. And that's what they've told us. Like, this was the best worst case scenario I could have ever had. And
Sure.
It's like, because nobody wants to be ordered to do this. But then at the end of it, they're often able to look back and just really look at the value of that time that would not have existed otherwise. It's not the same as playing at the park while somebody's watching you, like, because our house is set up for parent-child interaction. The whole place is made for fun. So our goal is to kind of, in these really big bubble spaces of conflict, to give just that little pocket of normalcy. When you don't live with your mom or your dad, with one of your parents, you don't have birthday parties, you don't have Christmas, you don't have Thanksgiving, you don't dress up for Halloween together. And so we try to celebrate all of those things with our families and make sure that they have those opportunities, even if it's only in a 2-hour snippet, to have some normal reality with that parent that they don't live with.
Do y'all guys go to court regularly? Or
Try real hard not to.
The referrals are just kind of sent to you.
Yeah, so often the families will get court ordered, and then the onus is on the visiting parent to start the whole process and to get the ball rolling. And unfortunately, a lot of the times they will look for places and they'll call everybody else, and by the time they get to us, they're just so frustrated. And I'm like, what if we were the first ones that you called? We would love to. We would love to be closer to the top of that list so that we can help with alleviating some of this pressure and some of the conflict. We can just deflate that balloon a little bit if we can get in there a little earlier.
I just think of juvenile court and the way they're so packed with cases, and we're in the county commission right now. We're going to do an expansion for them to try to help alleviate some of their growing pains they've got out there. But Judge Lampley, he's just a good guy. He was one of the assistant DAs, and I used to work with him on cases. And then, of course, he ran for judge, and he's out there now. But it seems like the programs and the things that he's got going on are really good. So I was curious if you went and interacted with him much there as far as getting this program further along than where it is now.
Yeah, they're where we get the majority of our Rutherford County referrals. So we have a pretty good relationship with Judge Lampley. And then, anytime I write a new grant, I'm like, hey, would you like to sign off on saying we're helpful?
Exactly.
Talk about your website as far as contacting you and maybe getting involved in a volunteer and talk about your fundraiser again, because we're getting towards the end of our time.
Perfect. Yeah. So our website is you don't have to say that part. I keep forgetting. Every time I start it, I'm like, oh, shame. Our website is just kymarihouse.org, KYMARIHOUSE.org. And you can reach me on there. I'm also just my name at kymarihouse.org. So I'm just Emily at kymarihouse.org if you ever need to email me. But we would love to find volunteers, board members, organizations, especially in the community, who are interested in child safety and ensuring that the children we work with have a long-standing relationship with both of their parents. And then, yes, with Smoke and Barrel coming up, we are selling tickets. Tickets are on sale now. I think I said 50 for general admission, 75 for VIP. And we are still looking for sponsors. So we have sponsorship spaces available, anything from $250 to $2,500 currently. We have secured our presenting sponsor, which is First Bank. And I have to say that before I leave. So I got it out.
We'll give this to Brian to post on the community bulletin board too.
Yep. Well, thank you so much, Emily.
Yeah,
this was great.
you.
I'm glad to have you on today.
Great show this morning. Thanks.
I agree 100%. Hope everybody enjoyed our show, and be back with you again next week. Wayne, who we got next week? I said I was going to start saying, and I forgot to yell out. Sheila Bratton. She was going to be on today, and she had a cancel.
No, actually, she's going to be week after next.
Who do we have then?
That's to be announced.
Got you. Sorry. I wrote it in the long line. The suspense is killing me. Who we going to have?
We got several programs already scheduled after that date, but we're still working on that date.
Well, everybody have a good day and stay warm out there.
Subscribe to Big G TV. Local content that matters to